Hello, I'm Andrew McInerney, Artistic Director of the Studio de Musique Ancienne de Montréal, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce these pre-concert presentations for our special 45th anniversary season.
My name is François Filiatrault. I am a musical advisor for Studio de Musique Ancienne, or SMAM, if you like, for many decades now.
And I'm Mario Paquet. I've been working as a radio host for CBC, the French network, Radio-Canada, for many decades too. And I'm now volunteering for Radio Ville-Marie, and I'm also giving some pre-concert talks with the Orchestre Métropolitain.
Well, we are here to talk about the March concert of the SMAM that's named Miserere en quatre temps, Miserere in four moments. Four moments. But why this concert? Because SMAM didn't sing Allegri Miserere for 15 years now, and it's an all-time favorite. People really love that piece, and but we will sing it with historically informed vocal embellishment. You know that it's always the same music coming back with different part of the text, and we hear currently the same vocalise, the same vocal embellishment each time, but at the time it was improvised by Castrati at the Papal Chapel in Rome. So we will try to recreate this different embellishment each time we take over the music, but well, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's fascinating, François, because there's also the legend. Mozart was 14 years old and he heard it twice in Rome, and he copied the whole thing.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was totally forbidden. It was a sacred piece. You could be excommunicated.
It was for the exclusive use of the Sixtine Chapel Choir, and that contributed to the aura, the why this piece became so famous, because you had to go to Sixtine Chapel to hear it, and the embellishment that the Castrati put different, supposedly different each time they sing it, contributed to the renown of that piece. But Mozart, I don't want to diminish his merits, but it's an easy piece. It's not really polyphonic. It's homophonic. It's only chords, and the same music is coming back 4, 5, 6 times, and you have a lot of chant section, quasi parlando, and it was not so difficult, but I couldn't do this, of course.
It's the ancestor of minimalism.
Yeah. But the piece is really very, even simple. The piece is really inspiring, and it's a very beautiful piece.
And the whole program has been constructed around this piece by Allegri.
Yeah. At the Comité Artistique, we wanted to feature this piece, but what other piece go at the same concert? So we thought about, why not other Miserere? Usually each concert is one style of music, one period, one country, one school, and with different text. But now it's the same text, but with musical settings of 4 different period of Renaissance and Baroque. So
we also have Josquin des Prez, we have Marc-Antoine Charpentier, and finally Leonardo Leo.
Yeah, it's very different. I think it will be a very great concert. But where does the text come from?
Well, François, it's the Miserere is Psalms number 51. This is the Jewish number. It's a Jewish collection first. And in the Old Testament, we call it in Hebrew Sefer Tehillim, which would be translated as a book of praise. And this is the great figure of King David, who supposedly wrote maybe more than 70 psalms himself. There are different categories, and the Miserere falls into the penitentials psalms, and the text is very simple. Have mercy. Miserere means have mercy. And in Greek, what do we say in Greek? Kyrie eleison.
Oh, it's the same.
It comes from the Miserere.
Okay.
And we used it for the in the Holy Week because we're asking forgiveness to God. And this is a text about compassion. This is still, for me, a very, very beautiful text. And it's been used in funerals too at the time. And still the Catholic liturgy use it every Friday. So the story is about King David, who wanted to be with Bathsheba. Bathsheba was the wife of Uri. He was a general in his army, and he managed to get this man killed to have his wife.
Very tricky.
Yeah, it's very, very tricky. And then he realized his sin, and he is asking God's forgiveness.
Yeah.
And how many times has it been used in music?
I guess what you're talking about, using it at Holy Friday, it's in chant, or plain chant, but the text is is full of possibilities of musical imagery. It's a very rich text because it's a contrasting text. Forgiveness, asking, and praise also. And so musicians took it to wrote their own music on that text. And I think it began around the 15th century. It was very in use in the Baroque era, Renaissance and Baroque era. Not much in the 19th or 20th
romantic,
century, but you have recent version like by Arvo Pärt and Hendrik Górecki. The first one is with orchestra. The other one, I think it's only for voices.
Yeah.
And you have all kind of setting. You have a cappella like Thomas Tallis, Christopher Tye, Philippe de Monte, and Josquin des Prez. You have with only basso continuo, like the Allegri, the Leo one is only with basso continuo. There is a special, also very nice setting by Benedetto Marcello, but the text was translated in Italian.
Okay.
And you have some also with full orchestra, like the one of Lully or de Lalande, and many French composers made full scale. And there is the one of Marc-Antoine Charpentier. We will talk later about this one.
But chronologically, the Josquin des Prez is
I think it's the first one.
Yeah.
Or if composer composed some before him, we lost their work. But I think Josquin is the first one, and it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest masterpieces of Western music, and it's for 5 voices, a cappella, of course. It was written in 1504 for Ercole d'Este in Ferrara, where he was a musician.
Time, yeah.
Maybe, I think, I read some place, but I didn't check it out, that the Duke of Este commanded it for his own funeral, but I'm not sure. But it's a very developed piece in 3 sections. It lasts around 12 to 13 minutes, and the use of the chant, that the cantus firmus, the chant is inside. It's one of the 2 tenor voices, and it's very curiously managed because you have only the beginning of the chant, and it's going up 1 degree of the scale, so 8 times up in the first section. Then it goes down 8 times, 1 degree at a time, and then in the third section it goes up again 5 times. It's very curious, but the work is very complicated, but it flows like it's super.
There's a light coming out from this music.
Yeah.
And what about the Miserere des Jésuites? Jesuits Miserere from Marc-Antoine Charpentier. Charpentier composed. Why the Jésuites? But Charpentier composed 4 Miserere.
But this is the longest.
Yes.
We took the longest.
Yes, well, almost more than 25 minutes.
Yeah,
yes.
and in 1683, Charpentier was lived at the hôtel particulier,
With
private hotel of
Mademoiselle de Guise.
Princess de Guise, who was a very devout person, and it was in the Marais, this area in Paris, where the Jesuits had their school and their church, Saint Louis. So there was very strong links between the princess and the Jesuits.
Yes.
And but Charpentier will work for the Jesuits around 1688 when the princess will die.
Yeah.
But this Miserere is for voices, solo voices and chorus.
With instruments too.
Yeah. 2 violins that could be replaced by 2 flutes. Some place it's written in the Charpentier manuscript.
Scores, yes.
But flute at that time, that instrument had many symbols at the time, and the flute was a funeral instrument because the air is coming out of the flute like the soul is coming out of the body. At death. And that's why very often in funeral music you have flute recorders or transverse flute at that time. But the work is sophisticated, of course. It's very refined, very sophisticated, but very intense feeling. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah. And the most recent one in the program, in the SMAM program, is the Miserere by Leonardo Leo, Neapolitan composer.
Recent, 1739. Yeah, very recent. Yeah.
And again, this is quite different because we're in the realm of Neapolitan opera.
Yeah. But Leo here composed in conservative way because the uses of ancient polyphony like a cappella. This is for 2 choirs with basso continuo, no instruments. He used chant. I think he was influenced by the Miserere by Allegri. We are quite sure that he heard it in Chapel 16, of course. But the melodic turns are 18th century, and it becoming more complex when it goes on.
There's something very interesting about this Miserere because Richard Wagner heard it in Naples.
1880.
Yes, he was there in Naples and he got inspired. He used it as an inspiration for this children's choir in Parsifal.
Yeah, okay.
This is quite amazing from Wagner to got so interested in ancient music.
I read that, that's the proof that some musical pieces were sung for a very long time. So 1880 is more than 150 years before after the creation of the work. And he said that this work was a kind of monument, a kind of cathedral.
Yeah, those are all in different ways cathedral of sounds, and I think it's going to be a beautiful program.
I think it will be a beautiful concert.